My name is Dave Barbush, and I am the CEO and founder of Once a Soldier.
What inspired you to create Once a Soldier?
I have no military background. My dad was in the Navy for about maybe 2 or 3 years. This is even before he met my mom. So I don't have any military, background, or I'm not a Navy brat or anything like that. But I live in Jacksonville area, and there's a lot of Navy bases here. And a coworker, um, her husband was a Navy helicopter pilot. And about 2017, when the VA suicide report came out, that branded kind of 22 a day veteran suicides, I kind of just looked at my coworker. I said, "Wow, she goes through a lot. They move around a lot. He's gone for 7, 8 months at a time, and gosh, what would happen to her if he ended up, killing himself?" So I started thinking about that, and I had the ability to become a digital marketer or be a digital marketer. And I could create the vision I had was taking care of veterans' families after the suicide and being almost virtual, doing it and not having to collect anything or disperse anything, just be able to be found and then be able to provide the services that I wanted to provide. So Mallory was really my inspiration.
Yeah, with that, a lot of people do think of the soldier, but it also, affects the whole family.
Yeah, I think I saw a statistic, and I'm going to get the exact number wrong, but I think that one suicide affects something like 120, 130 lives. 22 a day for us is really 22 families a day that are they lost their breadwinner, their dad, their loved one. That's really only the start. The suicide is really only the start of the national crisis that we have.
Yeah, when we were talking via email, you talked a lot about some of these stories that you hear and affect you. Can you tell me about some of them?
Yes, I'd be happy, because I think it's important. While I have scaled down a lot of my collection of the stories, or not so much the collection, but I just became a little bit ill at ease with some of the sensationalism that was kind of attached to it. However, I do believe that there's, a little is enough. And, the some of the more recent ones was, dad was suffering from PTSD, as most of them do when they decide to take their lives, because they believe that things will be better without them. And, he shot himself in the face, and then he did it at home in the living room. And, the first person to come upon him was his 7-year-old daughter, who told his mom, "Daddy's bleeding from his nose." These stories go on, and each one is worse than the one before. But the tying it back into how it's the least of their problems, PTSD is highly contagious. And when the 7-year-old, or even the dad or the sister or the brother, the uncle, is the first to find the body, that traumatic experience is now from what may have happened in theater, in Iraq or Iran, years ago, or Vietnam years ago. That incident is now part of someone's consciousness and part of their crisis too. So the stories are important.
So what are some of the programs you have?
Well, our primary program is crisis financial aid. So we get calls in the hours and mostly the days after a veteran suicide from all kinds of family members, direct family, and aunts and uncles, parents, wives, brothers. And so a lot of the folks that reach out to us are not in a financial position to be able to carry out the last wishes, or a proper burial, or even a cremation. So we get those calls. So our crisis financial reports, it's called a silver lining program. That silver lining program will Venmo or Cash App, or get the money to them that same day. So we prefer cremation, and not prefer it, but if you can't afford a funeral, then our mission is to limit the financial and the emotional scars of a veteran suicide. So having someone go into debt to the funeral home or credit card company for $6,000 to $12,000 just isn't making sense, right? So that's our first service. The second service that we do is mental health. On the mental health side, we offer transcendental meditation classes. We partner with the David Lynch Foundation, who does all the heavy lifting. So we offer that to everyone and everyone in the family, and it's an amazing way to meditate. It is a lifelong support. There's an app that comes with it, and there's an in-person training that happens with a certified TM teacher. It's one of the ways that the family can try to find a little bit of peace. It's not it's not going to solve everything, but it's a good start. And it does, I used to hand them out for years, and I said, well, maybe I should try this, So I finally did it like maybe about a year ago, and it's just an amazing mental health tool. And so those are the two primary services that we provide.
Yeah, how does it feel for you to, be a support system for these families?
I feel honored, and it's a mixed feeling, obviously. There's really no other place in the US, no other nonprofit that does exactly what we do. Yeah. TAPS is a very large organization. We are very small. TAPS offers support groups and an annual convention for all kinds of families that have lost loved ones. We're the only one there at that moment. And honestly, because we don't always have money to hand out, right? Because we're so small, but it's very humbling. It's like sometimes the thanks I get, I feel like I don't deserve it, so it's really, it's rugged sometimes. The phone calls are always, depending, 8 times out of 10, it's a very raw situation. Only rarely is someone detached and cool, and we try to bring that detachment and coolment. We don't want them, again, limit the emotional and financial scars. So we'll deal with the funeral homes if they're being pushy, and we have some advice. But it's just it's a humbling experience to be able to talk to them, because they're so tough. These families are something that America and the human race, honestly, can be proud of. They're just so, gosh darn, honest and tough, and and so it does my heart good to be able to be there for them, even in the small way that I really am.
So where do you want to see the organization in the next, say, 3 to 5 years?
Well, we've really made a great name for ourselves, and we get, I'm just, let me give you a precise scale of the organization. You're talking to it, right? This is it. Like I said, I'm a digital marketer by trade. I'm at my day job right now. But we're found all over the nation, and sometimes out of country. And we are referred to by many other nonprofits. But I would like to see us have more money so we can pass out more money. I would like to see us get involved in ketamine-assisted psychotherapy, whether that's to prevent or in what we call postvention. So there's prevention. I'm in postvention, or Once a Soldier is a postvention veterans charity. And I would like to see ketamine-assisted psychotherapy be used more. Now, I've gotten approval from my small board to make some financial assistance to some of those, and that's really, I think, the future. I think that's what's going to be the answer to a lot of these suicides, especially for veterans. For veteran suicide. It's just an amazing course of treatment with incredible results, and I've heard from so many veterans who have taken it. And so that's where I'd like to see us go. We always need more money, because we want to be able to do more for these families. They deserve it and more. But I think with the microdosing and the dissociative drugs that are kind of slowly getting more acceptance at the VA, in Congress, the general public's way ahead of them, of course. But that's where I'd like to see the next 3 to 5 years. I mean, it's great to come in after it's over, but it's better to step in, before it happens, and we can really save not just that one life, but we're saving, the whole family and any, that other 120 people, right? Because suicide ideation now, that 7-year-old girl I talked about who walked in on her dad, what is she thinking now? And a lot of the veterans now are just like, when is it going to be my turn? So prevention is kind of not our thing, but I would like to tiptoe into it by offering that same service so that the families that do witness these, the remains can get over it, or not get over it, but can get mental health relief from it.